By the way, I used to do this joke on the Hunger Games. Do you ever watch the Hunger Games?
Yeah.
If you watch the Hunger Games #1, there are no black people in it. And it cracked me up because I realized, I said, do you know what this means? It means when push comes to shove, white people will eat you. I mean, that was Hunger Games. That's my funniest punchline. That was great. White people will eat you. But yes, winter is coming. And yes, there are these conflicts that are evolving. But the sooner we get into the forefront, the sooner that we start directing things, that time can be pushed away. Because we can say, hey, man, that's the dumbest shit. Like when someone is like my daughter, Cressida Fletcher, who I love, who's a club member. It took her until I finally had to guilt her for the first time. She's like 23 or something. And I finally said, do I ask shit from you? I don't ask anything from you, but the idea that I have to worry about my 23-year-old not being vaccinated is really kind of fucked up. And so she actually went and got vaccinated, but it was crazy. And I was able to say that because if we're multicultural, we could look at our stupid multicultural kids and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't go get vaccinated now. It's that removing race and removing politics from it, and that's what we should do. But it's important. It's important we can do this. Yeah. We're at the forefront.
And I think one of the most fun things about being multicultural is like me and my dad play this game. Since I am like primarily Scottish on my mother's side,
right,
and then I think it's Choctaw and like African American Cameroonian on my dad's side,
right.
And we play
this great accents too, dude. You could do some.
And I ain't got one of them.
None of them. But you could, if you're trying to do it. So Scottish is a great accent if you do it. It always sounds horrible. And if you do Native American, it sounds just condescending as shit. All right, go ahead with your.
But we play this game where like we'll look at guys. Usually we play it during like when we're watching football or something, and it's like. What like the different mixes of like, all right, that guy's 60%. Because you see like a Patrick Mahomes, that's an interesting mix. Right. And then you see like a you or like a me, and it's like that's a very different mix. It's just funny to see how everybody else turns out, but you don't get that if everybody's one race.
Well, and you don't. But here's the other part of that is when I was watching the Olympics, and again, I obsess on club members. It's stunning the number of multicultural people just at the highest level. And it's just jaw-dropping. You watch it and watch it and watch it. And again, it is genetics. It is genetics. If you look at evolution, it is genetics. I said one of my favorite multicultural lines was we were at, I think it was Cressida. We're at a friend of ours, were very, very wealthy Jewish people. And they had this... picture of their whole family on the wall, and in our we said club member forever, and I'm standing there where, of course, we're the only club members at the whole function, and we're looking at this picture, and we're looking, and so Cressa was probably like 8 or 9, and she goes, "Gee, not many club members." So we played the game too, but you do look out. It's amazing when you look out, and this I guess on the less bright side or an ominous side or something. It is amazing, though, how few dark-skinned African Americans are participating at levels, and that's something that has to be addressed. I mean, it's almost I don't think it's racism on our part. I know it's not on our part. But the question becomes, why is that? Why are there so few dark-skinned African Americans involved at the highest level of things? And part of it has to be discrimination, but also part of it, I swear to God, is African Americans not supporting African Americans. Again, LeBron James, I think, should be the king of all people, king of all. He could be my king because LeBron James is fucking incredible. All he's saying is, and he's walking the walk and talking the talk, and he's saying everyone who works for him is of color, and many of them are African Americans, and it's amazing. But other than him, who else is doing that? It's unbelievable. And again, I self-identify as African American. I look out there and I see the absolute few number of darker African Americans, and it's stunning. And what's even more stunning is there are areas where, oh my God, every agent in basketball should be dark-skinned African American. And the economic ramifications are tremendous. Yeah. But LeBron James, part of the reason he gets attacked, and it's from a percentage of black people, is because he stands up for black people. It's incredible. The Olympics were amazing to watch. I love seeing it. I love seeing rooms where we're sitting there and it's all club members. But I also, if you do not honestly look at that picture and say, why are there so few African American, particularly dark skinned African American men in the room, you can't just move that aside and say that has no relevance. The other side is the Latino men. I mean, it's the stunningly low number of Latinos broadly. It's amazing.
I think one interesting thing about, like you talked about with LeBron, of like hiring people specifically of the African American community, that I find cool is the fact that we've talked before about how you've gone into law offices and they're just like, we don't really care if you're qualified, but you're Jewish,
right.
or but you're also a white dude,
right.
so
right.
Whatever.
Right.
But the thing I see with him is he actually either like the correct structure to do it well is to either I'm going to pay for you to learn how to do it,
right.
or I'm going to hire you because you're the only guy that knows how to do it.
Right.
Versus just taking other people off the street because they look like
I
you.
agree.
Because that doesn't make progress.
It doesn't, and it doesn't get you through the difficult path forward. I one thing I've learned is that I destroyed people at trial, just like I do, and it's just, you just have to be better. And that's one of those multicultural things that was stolen from African Americans, because the African American mantra used to be, you just have to be better than white people. My parents passed it on, and they're just like, you just work harder and be better than everyone else. What LeBron James has done is the people around him are extraordinarily good, and that's what you have to be. I agree that there are, one of the problems I think with so many African American firms, and I guess some other ones, is just the lack of self-criticism, the lack of, hey, that sucks, that work sucks.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, I used to, when I practice law, I'd say to people, it's not white lawyers who are stunning relative to their treatment of African Americans. It's African American lawyers. I've never seen worse legal representation in my life than I saw with African American lawyers, at least in Kansas City. It's stunning. What I love about LeBron and his whole group is they're hugely competent, hugely qualified. He's really taken the next step in that. What's happened in the African American community, there was just never this promotion on the economic principle. It was here, let's go hire a white person to do this, and so you never built that infrastructure. What LeBron has done is he said, I'm building that infrastructure, and you have to be good, or I'm getting rid of you. Mm-hmm. And that's that next step that the community needs to take. That's the step that where I think that being multicultural gives us such a huge advantage. Because like it or not, we kind of came in with the premise of just work really hard. It's work your ass off, and be smart. It's again in our meeting on our law case, you saw Bob Bailey and I go at it all the time. It's because we want to get it right. Mm-hmm. In the African American community, there is a level of, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to be critical. And it kills people. What LeBron has done is amazing. There's also, if you look on the production side in Hollywood, there's a level of people, of minority producers and directors who are at that level or getting there, because that's how you solve it. Just by being, if you look at athletics, just, it's not like white people said, hey, let's give all these brothers these multi-million-dollar gigs. It's just that African Americans are better. And so once you get better and you can just take your shit, then you get to take your shit. The next phase, and like in sports, for example, is, and LeBron, I think, will do this, is ownership. It's like if African Americans, you know why there's so few African American GMs and coaches? Because there's so few African American owned teams. Mm-hmm. Buy the fucking team. Buy the team. Pull the money by the team. And that's one thing that I'm just adamant. In the multicultural, we're going to do that because that's the next step. We're just, I think, ahead of the game on that. We are thinking about ownership. And I think a lot of African Americans are in the point of, I just want to get there first. And what's great about LeBron is you'll see, I mean, what he's done is amazing. If you look at his team, what they've done is amazing. Maverick Carter and his management side of his business is amazing. Mm-hmm. But can you get buy-in from athletes? 80% of the NBA is African American. The thought that there's not 80% coaches or 80% of the league owned by it's you got to take that next step. Mm-hmm. Have to take that next step.
Yeah, and I think part of that as well is like like you said, with the multicultural community, is the fact that the progress should be able to come sooner because there's no crutch. like there's not as much hope.
Less of a threat.
There's not as much hope that you're going to be able to get taken care of because of what you look like.
Right.
You need to be able to make that happen on your own.
But I also think one thing about being multicultural is that someone giving you shit, it's not part of our makeup. It's just, and I hate to say, I mean, I don't hate to say, it's just a fact. It's not part of our makeup. I was raised that people are not giving you shit. And I had a friend, Asim Bahideen, a Islamic brother, was the first Islamic American elected to citywide election. And I ran his campaign for school board. And he said this thing, and it's stuck in my head in a weird way. And now, in retrospect, I think it's correct. I said to him, I said, I don't feel like I need white people for anything. I think I can do it all on my own. And he said, that's because of your ethnicity. You have been raised to think that there's no reason that you can't accomplish things. He says, African Americans are routinely raised being told there's lots of reasons you can't accomplish anything. And he said, so you being interracial, you having being part white has removed that cloud over your head. African Americans still have the cloud over our heads. And I remember him saying, I thought that sounds so self-defeatist. But then I look and I see, and I do see that. I see so many brothers who just don't believe it. They don't believe they're better. I'm not even joking. When I see a white lawyer, I'm like, I'm going to crush him. I'm just going to crush him because I know I'm better. It's funny is one thing I talked about. What do we got? Oh, fuck, I have it written down there. This is how important it is. Oh, white privilege. I said I'm for white privilege, and people are like, oh, why? It's like, because that means we could have multicultural privilege, because it's coming. I'm utterly convinced that the reason white privilege is so important to white people is that privilege has handicapped them competing moving forward. I don't think that they are driven enough. I don't think that I think they're so closed mind relative to things that they are at a competitive disadvantage. I just believe that. I look at it and I see, and it's just, and it makes sense because they never, my nephew is playing in a football game 2 months ago, and they're playing an all-white team from Lakewood. And it was incredible that this team, they ran 2 plays that just, you can only like run one play. You got to pass the other. And the second one they did, they scored, and my brother's like, well, yeah, that has to come back. You can only have one running play. There was literally a meeting on the field. They went and got the director of Lakewood football, and they're like, okay, we're going to let them run it again because they're going to run the play again because they didn't get to do it. And Matthew was like, no, you don't get to run the play again. That's a violation, and you lose. And it was incredible. This whole Caucasian team was stunned. They were stunned that they weren't entitled to just get another play, even though the play they ran was a direct violation. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there watching, and it's like, this is what's happened to Caucasians. They think they get it no matter what. It's why you see such a huge pushback on this vaccination. It's not about vaccination. It's about a group of Caucasians demanding that they be treated differently. The irony is amazing. They're so adamant against any type of affirmative action or any type of representational economics unless it relates to them. And that's what's so, this white privilege thing is why I think it's so hard for Caucasians, because it's how they compete. The great thing is with being multicultural, we've almost taken that, and it wasn't just white people. It was black people in the 50s and 60s. My dad was the hardest working person in the world. He's just like, I'm just going to outwork you. What we've taken as the multicultural community is this assumption of, oh, we know you aren't giving a shit. But more important, what they don't understand is we don't want you to give a shit. We're taking it. I want to take it. I've never wanted you to give me anything. I'll just take it. It's like how I used to fight. I used to love to fight. Good. I'm just going to beat your ass. And maybe you'll beat my ass, but that's cool. But you're not giving me shit. And I see young multicultural people. I see it. I mean, again, it's going back to our first show where I'm like, I'm a higher multicultural dude because I know what? I know that dude is going to be up until 12 or 1 o'clock at night, or that chick. These young multicultural cats like you, just seeing the world and not afraid of the world, man. That's the thing. So many African Americans, I'm like, man, why are you afraid of the world? The world is out there, man. It's our world. We've been lucky and benefited from that premise of our parents saying, just go do it. You know what I mean? It's not just a commercial.
Yeah.
It's a whole goddamn race. But you know what I mean? It's why we're gonna win. You just look. Sydney McLaughlin is the name I've been trying to talk about. Just won the Olympics, and I'm watching this sister, and I'm like, first of all, she's just stunning, creepy in the sense that because she looks just like my niece. I love you, Sarah, so she can't be that stunning. But it's like I'm like she looks like my niece, but she's a quintessential multicultural club member. I can't pull it up because I can't spell. But Mark will put a picture of Sydney McLaughlin up. Look at her, man. You watch it, and as a club member, you're like, that's us. She's going to be the greatest Olympic star. She will be the most marketable. She's going to be worth $100 million because she has that look. We're the future. We're now. And she broke the world record in the 400 intermediate hurdles twice. Twice. Had never been run. Oh, here's our other little club member, Calista Fletcher. I'm going to be the grumpiest 12-year-old on the planet. Sydney was probably a mean 12-year-old too. She broke the world record twice in the semifinals and the finals. 100% club member. And I'm looking at it. I'm watching her family. And it's great. She had the quintessential interracial family. You know, you got the mom and the dad. And then there's always one interracial person that's got that crazy fucked up hair somewhere. So I think it's her brother. I'm like, there he is.
Look at him go.
But you know, it is. And so many multicultural families are like, oh, there's the crazy stuff going on. But you're watching them, and she's Harvard and all this stuff, and it's like, wow, that's us. Mm-hmm. And watch the Olympics and watch the number of multicultural people winning. And it's just, man, that's one thing in this podcast we're going to talk about is, man, let's just do it. Yeah. Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead. Hey, man, I'm just going to get in this car. We're gonna drive it. I'm like, come on, get in. There's no one else in there. We come on, let's all just get in there because I'm the king of the multicultural verse. And you guys think I'm joking? I got this multiculturalverse.com. It's completely empty, but I own it, and I'm just telling you, I'm the king. It's going to be. We're going to put some.
Staked my land.
Yes, it's mine. We're going to put some stuff on there, but this multicultural thing. Check out Sydney McLaughlin. I was also just look at her. Look at what she does. She is us. She looks like us. She sounds like us. She's immensely smart. It's why we win. It's why you guys should come along. Come on, let's just take this thing and ride it. And let's just be the bosses. And that way when the winter comes, I'll be like, first of all, I'll be like, as your king, this is what I told you was coming. But even if the winter doesn't come, we get to say, hey, man, I told you we were going to win.
Yeah.
You get some free tickets or some shit.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right. Right? That's what we got. Winter's coming, Marky. Appreciate it. What's our timing on this? Did we do good?
We're at 34 minutes.
See, people? Next time we talk, it will be in less than a week. We're going to do the Winter is Coming, and we're going to talk about it. But we're also going to talk about my favorite multicultural comic right now, Bill Burr, who has been fucking been killing it. Have you watched the review? He's been doing the woke premise. Bill Burr, if a lot of you guys don't know, is a Caucasian dude. I don't know if they're married or what. His significant other is a club member. Is a sister.
Yeah.
They are club members. Bill Burr has been killing this woke thing, and it's been cracking me up. And and I think woke is great. People mischaracterize it, but funny. So we're going to talk about maybe Bill Burr next week, but it's going to be club members from now on. That's it. It's a Mark Samuel media production.
Boom.
Yes. Yes. Should we put Mike Green in anymore? Let's put Mike in.
Yeah. Mike Green, Sean McBride. The homies.
Laugh Factory, the homies. Zach Miller. Zach Miller's going to open for... man, he got a real gig opening for somebody. You know who it is?
I forget the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, real comic. So club member Zach.
Not that Zach's not a real comic.
Zach, Zach's not this real, but Zach is a real comic. All right, guys, we love you. Thank you. We'll see you soon.